Good evening. Welcome to the 2023 East Dubuque National Honor Society induction ceremony. I wish I was not the person standing here right now, but we'll get into that a little bit later on. Mr. Wilgenbush has put a lot of time and energy and effort into preparing tonight's ceremony, but unfortunately he's got some health things that he's got to get taken care of, and he is not able to be with us tonight. So in his stead, I get to be the MC, so my apologies ahead of time that you have to listen to me for longer than you should. We will start out tonight by introducing first our members that were inducted last year, and then we will introduce our new members. So alphabetically, last year's NHS inductees: Megan Anger, Trey Bowman, Emily Gokul, Elijah Hamilton, Jeremiah Haben, Haley Heyer, Maddie Heitkamp, Will Quinn, and Lucy Robentine. Liam Thunzer was also inducted last year, but he is out of town and unable to be with us tonight. And now to introduce the newest members of the East Dubuque chapter of the National Honor Society. Erica Dolan, Kiara Funston, Jacob Lang, Sydney Mulgrew, Emma Pettigrew, Isabel Stewart, Josiah Sullivan, I have to stop right now. Somebody miscounted on the number of chairs here in the front. Trey, will you go grab one more chair, please? Out and around the corner. Carter Widmeyer. And she will soon be able to sit, Mia Wilward. Thank you, Trey. If nothing else, we have to be flexible. Thank you. I'll start tonight just by talking a little bit about what National Honor Society stands for. And these individuals, both last year and now the current inductees, they had to fill out an application that referred to 4 core areas in which they needed to show significant contributions, whether to the school, to the community, and elsewhere. The first one is probably the most obvious one, and that is scholarship. To be eligible for National Honor Society, you have to have a cumulative grade point average of 3.0 or above. I can tell you that every one of these students is well above 3.5, if not higher. So that was not a question. But it does show that they have been dedicated, they're organized, they are committed to working, not just simply turning in an assignment or I don't really need to study tonight because it's okay, I'll get by. These kids are motivated and they push themselves, and we hope that continues for a long, long time. The second core value is character, and I think the best way to sum up character is, do you do the right thing even if you're not positive somebody's watching you, right? The old unanswerable question. If you're out in the middle of the country at night and you come up to a stop sign and you know that there are no vehicles coming from either direction, do you still stop? Right? I hope that all of these kids would answer that most of the time with a resounding yes. But character, do you do the right thing even when it might not be the popular thing? And there's definitely enough opportunities in today's society where things start getting built up, social media and other things, and these are the kids that we need to be able to look to as young adults to know that they're going to make the right choice. They are going to say no if somebody brings up an idea that's not good. Right? Showing character. The third core value of National Honor Society is service. These kids have a variety of ways that they've shown service. All of our kids have to complete graduation service hours, and it's been that way for a long time. Most of these kids had their 40 hours in or more well before they even got into their sophomore or junior year. So they've taken care of that part, the required part of service. But as you read through and as you listen to the induction speeches tonight, they're involved in a lot of other ways. Churches, youth groups, the community, helping out the booster club. Wherever they find opportunities to serve, they do. And hopefully that's a trait that carries with them as they get into college and beyond. Because communities fall apart if you don't have people willing to step in and help out. Right? I think Mr. Pettigrew can probably attest to that from the Booster Club. It takes volunteers for every organization. All right? After prom moms, the junior class concessions mothers, you gotta have people willing to step in. And hopefully you guys will carry that thought process onward. And the final core value of the National Honor Society is leadership. Sometimes you have a vocal leader, that person that can get people to do what they want them to do or what they should do by talking to them, by making a comment, and it gets people to follow. I think you well know some of these kids are not very vocal. There are some that are, right? I'm not trying to single anybody out, the vocal ones. But there are also several up here that are not vocal leaders, right? If you hear them talking, kids listen because they don't talk all the time. They are usually quiet, but they lead by example. And so types of leadership in a small school, you get kids that are captains of teams, you've got kids that are elected officers through things such as student council, you've got kids that are out in the community in their church being Sunday school teachers or leaders of different organizations, Boy Scouts, whatever it may be. But they find ways to lead, right? Not only vocally, but by example. So you roll all of those four core values together, and each of these young men and women had to demonstrate in their application that they met that set standard, and they all exceeded that. So it was not a very difficult decision to nominate these kids as National Honor Society members. So now, the fun part of the night, we will induct each of our new members. And one of our current members, it just so happens that by Liam unable to be here, it works out perfect. We have 9 current members, we have 9 new inductees. So each person will get to introduce one another. And we will do it alphabetically for the new inductees, which doesn't mean alphabetically for the current members. So I believe our first presenter is Haley Heyer.
Erica Dolan has admirable characteristic traits that include being friendly, compassionate, hardworking, honest, and being a leader. One story I can think of that shows this is from when we were on a trip together. Our families are very good friends. Every year we go to a UNI game in November. Usually we spend the night in a hotel after the game and make it a whole trip. These trips bring so many amazing memories. One time in the hotel, our brothers were pulling a prank on us and locked us out of the room. So we tried knocking on the door a few times and they never really opened it. So we just sat in the hallway and laughed and talked. I think this shows how Erica can get along with so many people and can make anyone laugh regardless of the situation. Next, Erica has been involved in many activities during her high school career at East Dubuque. She has been a part of volleyball, basketball, and softball programs during her first 3 years of high school. She has received honorable mention, second team all-conference, and 2 times conference champions throughout her sports career. On top of this, she was also volleyball co-captain during her first 2 years of high school. She has also just recently joined Leo Club and Student Council. Erica has been able to be involved in many community service and committee events at East Dubuque. This year, she was head of the Homecoming Parade Committee. She has also participated in a couple booster club activities, including stuffing envelopes and auction setup. While doing this, she has been able to run the scoreboard for elementary and junior high school games. Even when you think she has done enough volunteering, she has also been involved in the blood drive, Wingfest, and dragon boating, where she got first place in the junior division. Erica has not only been able to excel in all of her volunteer activities, but she has also been able to show her strengths in her personal jobs. During the summer, Erica has worked as a lifeguard, putting up 40 hours a week. I have had the pleasure to be able to work with Erica, which has made my experience there even more enjoyable. While working as a lifeguard, Erica has also been able to hold multiple jobs, which include a stalker at Van's Liquor Store and a dishwasher and busser at Happy's. Finally, she mows lawns as another summer job for at least 4 hours a week. To close, Erica has had a lot of contribution to school, home, and work, as well as to individual people. I'm so proud of Erica for who she has become and cannot wait to see what her future holds for her. Congratulations.
It was probably more humorous that the word was across my forehead than it was across Haley's. So we will readjust. Is that going to be better? Really? All right. Our next presenter is Elijah Hamilton.
Over the past 3 years, I've gotten to know this wonderful student. She has been a great friend, leader, and contributor to this community. For years, she has been participating in activities both related and not related to school. Kiara has participated in soccer starting from a young age, and she still holds that commitment to this day. In my opinion, dedication is the key to joining National Honor Society. Not only has she been practicing soccer, she has also practiced archery, drama club, academic bowl, student council, Leo Club, and so much more. Some of her accomplishments include contributing to her team's score at the NASP Illinois State Archery Tournament, not only once, but 2 years in a row. She has also managed the front of the house during the performance for Drama Club. Another accomplishment is her contribution to winning the conference champion title for the academic bowl this year. Kiara's leadership skills have been honed as well, thanks to her being the vice president of the East Dubuque High School Student Council. Now for her dedication directly to the community and not just through high school. Kiara has recently been donating her time to elementary school by tutoring students who may be struggling in a certain subject. This is a relief to the teachers, and it simultaneously gives those students a role model to look up to. She has had a handful of other jobs as well, such as babysitting and working part-time at a local farm. In the past 2 years, she has been coaching soccer to help her team get better at the game as well. With all of these accomplishments, they're only on paper. Not everyone here will get to experience who she truly is as a person. Over the last 3 years, I've seen her grow into a more confident person. While Kiara has had struggles, she has always overcome them. She is a great friend, and she will go far in life. Now it is my honor to welcome Kiara Funston to the National Honor Society.
forgot to write the name of who this is that's presenting for Jacob. Sorry, Will Quinn.
Jacob Lang is an amazing guy. I became very good friends with Jacob this year, so I think I can say that I know him quite well. In school, he is diligent with his work. Whenever I am neglecting my recently assigned math homework by talking in class, I will look over at Jacob, who will be intently focused on his homework and nearly done by the time I've started. Jacob is also an Illinois State Scholar, which he plays down in all of his humility, which means that he is in the top 10% of all high school seniors in Illinois in terms of test scores and GPA. After working hard in school, Jacob heads over to Lacoma to work hard on his golf swing. Ask anyone around here who the best golfer they know is, and they will say Jacob Lang. He is a leader on the golf team. The underclassmen golfers look up to Jacob and try to emulate him. Jacob can transfer his talents on the fairway to the basketball court as well, where he plays varsity and manages the girls' team. He does. Early in the year, I was charmed by Jacob's amiable personality and humor. It didn't matter what he said. If I thought his inflection was funny or his delivery was clever, I would laugh or smile. As the year progressed and I started to hang out with Jacob more often, I began to see his geniality give way to a loving personality that was steadfast and sincere. His patience is admirable. Jacob has taught many people the intricacies of euchre and has watched us make horrible mistakes when we were still learning, but he never got frustrated or angry. That being said, Jacob is still very able to be competitive, as we have had some pretty intense games where winning was a must. However, Jacob is also laid back. There is no pressure when you are around him or when you are conversing with him. He cares for his friends and makes sure that the responsible thing is always done. Whether it's on the court, the back nine, the front nine, in the classroom, or hanging out with friends, Jacob shows authenticity and integrity, qualities that deem him deserving of membership in the East Dubuque chapter of the National Honor Society.
Our next presenter is Jeremiah Haben.
I have the privilege this evening of inducting Cindy Mulgrew into the National Honor Society. I've had the pleasure of knowing Cindy both inside and outside school. Cindy is not only a great student, but a great person. I've had the opportunity of playing with Cindy in band. She is a fantastic trumpet player, and I see her work hard in learning music and give a great performance during concerts. Her freshman year, she also participated in choir, where she was a soprano. As with everything else, she gave her all in choir and was giving a solo in a concert. She is also involved in volleyball, softball, basketball, where she achieved an honorable mention at all conference. And Sydney is also involved in archery, where she has had the honor of being a state champion and participated worldly. Sydney is also a great leader, and she demonstrates this in her involvement in student council, where she has been involved in every year of her high school career so far. Not only have I had the privilege of seeing Sydney's character here at school, I've also been able to see her work in the community, especially at Grandview Methodist Church. She has helped serve at the soup supper and has been a great leader at VBS every year of high school. She is the main leader running worship tech at Wesley Methodist Church, and without her, that church would not be able to run as smoothly as it currently does. Sydney also took her musical talent to help out with the children's Christmas play this year. She has been a great help in putting on the East Dubuque Wing Fest the past couple of years by punching tickets and raising money for programs. With everything I've said so far, it's no surprise that Sydney has proven to be a hard worker. She has had the experience of assisting in office activities for the past couple of years. She has also taken the opportunity to be a ministry intern at Grandview Methodist Church, the past couple years, working 3 hours per day. She has also worked in finishing an excavating job at the NATE convention the past couple of years, working 5 hours a day for a week each year. Even with everything Sydney is involved with, Sydney has still been able to maintain a 3.9 GPA throughout her high school career, and this includes being involved in high school honors courses. She has been involved in honors math courses. She takes AP US History and is a fellow student of mine in AP Literature. It is very clear to me that Sydney exemplifies everything it means to be involved in National Honor Society, and so it is my pleasure to welcome Sydney Mulgrew to the Eastview chapter of National Honor Society.
Our next presenter is Lucy Roventine.
7 years ago, I was sitting in band assembling my instrument when a bubbly girl with curly hair sat down next to me and started talking to me like I'd known her forever. Little did I know that this lively student named Emma would soon become my best friend. From then on, in every class we had, she'd sit next to me and we would chat. Chats turned to text, which turned to countless sleepovers and hangouts that left us laughing so hard our stomachs hurt. Those past 7 years I've had getting to know and love her have been the best 7 years of my life. From goofing off in band class to singing our hearts out at prom, there has never been a dull moment. Emma is the type of person that radiates light, the type of person who you can't help but smile at when they walk in the room. She's the most selfless person I know as well, never hesitating to help anyone. She's even that person that compliments strangers on the street. Her positivity and unyielding dedication to whatever she does is inspiring, and I'm absolutely honored to be giving this speech tonight. Emma isn't just an incredible friend and person, but a well-rounded one too, who excels in her school life along with her social one. In her 3 years in high school, she has done it all, from doing hair and makeup for the school play to going all out in sports even through an injury. Emma gives her all into everything she does, whether it be organizing an assembly at Leo Club or running the student council Instagram. Emma has never failed to exceed expectations, and through that has become better for it. She volunteers every year at multiple fundraisers regardless of what they're for. In her time of being in high school, she has helped out with wing fests, blood drives, booster club, and many more. Emma is nothing short of spectacular and genuinely deserves to be here tonight. High school is a stressful time for everyone with balancing extracurriculars, homework, and home life. Yet Emma has managed to have 2 jobs through it all along with everything else. Emma carries herself in her jobs the same way she does with everything else, with unrelenting grace and optimism. Emma Jean Pettigrew can be described as sincere, considerate, authentic, and my best friend. Out of the 7.8 people in this world, and 7.8 billion, I'm so sorry, in this world, I am so incredibly grateful that you gave me the opportunity to get to know you. You are the light that this world needs.
Our next presenter is Megan Anger.
All right, so tonight I have the honor of inducting our special catcher and also a little bit of a back row for our volleyball team, Izzard. Izzard has been very committed to anything she's been putting her mind to, whether it's schoolwork, whether it's working out every day, no matter what is happening, even if it's sports. Isabel has been shown to have great attitude and commitment towards the gym. She's always working hard and pushing not just herself, but others around her to achieve their goals. Isabel and I have played volleyball and softball together. And during those 2 seasons, Isabel has shown great leadership abilities, such as always pushing her teammates to try their best and hardest, but always trying to keep peace between all of us, even through all of that drama. During softball, Isabel takes great control and shows what kind of a leader she really can be. After having our new weight room facility added and Isabel also getting her license, she's always working out no matter what the situation comes, whether it's rain, snow, or no school. Although Isabel did lose her mother at a very young age, she still manages to act like one, even it is simply keeping the house clean. But she also manages her time very well so that she has the ability to keep her grades up, hang out with friends, work 20 hours a week and more at Olive Garden, work out 5 days a week, and enjoy being in extracurricular activities. Isabel has managed to do all of these things while still being a full-time student athlete and a teenager. As we get closer to the end of our induction tonight, I'd like to say one final thing for Isabel. Isabel, keep doing what you're doing, and don't let others bring you down, because you have shown that you are a hardworking, kind, and responsible individual who can manage anything thrown in your way. Congratulations.
Our next presenter is Trey Bowman.
Tonight, I will be inducting Josiah Sullivan into the National Honor Society. Josiah and I have known each other ever since we were both little. Not only are we cousins, but we've been neighbors for over 10 years and have been friends for even longer. Over the years, I've noticed certain qualities about Josiah. He's always been creative, determined, and overall a kind person who seems to bring joy effortlessly to the people around him. Josiah has always been a guy you can rely on to cheer you up whenever you are down. He's also very persistent and will stop at nothing to make sure that the task at hand is done to the best of his ability. Josiah has been very involved at EDHS and has already made an impact. He was a big part of the football program where he was called upon to be a leader for the underclassmen with not only his words, but in the way he played the game. Knocked the other guys on their butts, but picked them up to show the ultimate form of sportsmanship. I have a little story to tell which really exemplifies Josiah's character. We were down big to a team during the season, which no one likes that, but it was the scenario we were in. And a lot of people had their heads down and were ready to go home. At half, I asked the team to compete no matter what the score said, to keep fighting and to never give up. Josiah was one of the first people to respond and played his heart out to finish the game, despite the score indicating not to bother and to just hang your head down and give up. It just goes to show Josiah's overall willingness to keep fighting even when the odds are stacked against him. Outside of football, he remained a leader in the weight room and continued to work hard, not only to help himself, but underclassmen who looked to him for guidance and encouragement. In the classroom, he has maintained a 3.9 GPA and ranks 4th in his class overall. He was also vital to the success of the East Dubuque Students Section and helping it to be the best student section God ever put on this planet. Also, this would be a good time. Sorry, Mr. Sirianni, for the rowdiness and sheer awesomeness that was our student section. I know we could be a little bombastic, but good news is you only have to deal with one of us now. So, outside of school, he remains a leader. He volunteers his time with the EDYFL program, where he announced and officiated games. He also dedicated his time to the Boys and Girls Club of Dubuque, where he volunteered in the Meals on Wheels program to help distribute food to the underprivileged families of Dubuque. I'm so glad to see that Josiah is finally getting the recognition that he deserves, and I couldn't be more proud of him. So could you all please join me in welcoming my friend, Josiah Sullivan, into this edition of the National Honor Society.
Next up, we have Maddie Heitkamp.
Sorry. It is my honor and privilege to introduce Carter Woodmeyer into the East Dubuque National Honor Society. While preparing my introduction, I was fortunate enough to have been able to reach out to Carter's friends and family, who all had great things to say about him. For that, I am very grateful. I have been told that Carter works very hard in anything he finds passionate, whether it is working out one of his jobs or competing in athletics. In his essay, he wrote about how he works at J&R Rental part-time during the school year and more than full-time during the summer, while also having time to run his own power washing business. He also finds time in his schedule for our golf team, our basketball team, and to do motocross outside of school. When I heard and read about all the things he is involved in, I knew with his passion and determination he will find success. Not just because he stands here with us today, but because of all the hard work he puts in every day. When talking to Coach Shaver, I was told he is the one on the team who always has perfect hair, good shoes, and they call him Hollywood. But Carter isn't all glitz and glam, isn't just all glitz and glam. His coaches told me that Carter has a very high aptitude for basketball, and it's like another coach at times, sometimes even getting to run his own plays. With these skills, Carter has also stepped up as a sort of mentor for the younger boys. All of these qualities, I find, make Carter a leader. Most people that are leaders in their communities are leaders whether or not they choose to be. Carter chooses to be a leader and uses his power for the betterment of his team. So in conclusion, I find myself very proud to be giving this introduction today. Carter exemplifies the qualities that are cultivated by National Honor Society. Congratulations and welcome, Carter.
And our final presenter is Emily Gogol.
Last but certainly not least, I'm standing before you tonight to induct Mia into the National Honor Society. I've known Mia since junior high basketball, and being my team was just overflowing with participants due to our very, very impressive record, she was moved on to the 8th grade team for a couple of our games. Instantly, I and the rest of my fellow teammates noticed her talent, her capabilities, noticed the moment that she steps out on the court. Our friendship molded mostly when Mia was a freshman and I was a sophomore. We were both placed onto the varsity basketball team together, which was a very big responsibility for us. Being the only underclassmen, we coped with our stress together. I cherished a core memory that describes our first game of that season, sitting on the sidelines and watching the JV warm up, forcing laughs and reminiscing about the endless possibilities of how this game could possibly turn out. Mia knows how to make light in those kinds of situations. This newfound friendship strengthened Mia and I's dynamic on the court, even up to our last game together this past February. Mia has also participated in softball and volleyball throughout her high school career. Not only is Mia's outstanding athletic career something to boast about, but her personality deserves recognition also. She is selfless, empathetic, considerate, and has a genuine warm heart. Even if she's in a bad mood, she can crack jokes or make snarky comments that fill the room with laughter. I'm so blessed to have made a meaningful friendship through our sports together, and I'm excited to see your future accomplishments in the years to come. Congratulations, Mia.
All right, so at this time, if everyone could please indulge me, I believe that Mr. Wilgenbush is watching from home. So if you could turn to the iPad and give a wave to Mr. Wilgenbush. We miss you and look forward to seeing you again soon, Mr. Wilgenbush.
I love you, Will. I love you.
For those of you that know Mr. Wilgenbush, you will not find it surprising that he wrote a book that he was going to give for a speech tonight, in jest. It's in large print, which is good, because then I can read it. But he has created a speech, and he also has a couple of videos. So we're going to start with a video, and then I will carry on with the little talk that Mr. Wilgenbush had prepared.
more confident in your writing. 1. Remove hedging language and deedling. For example, instead of saying, I might be able to find a way to make this happen, try saying, I can make this happen.
My apologies. If I can do Mr. Wilgenbush's speech justice, here we go. Wow. The hours, the days, the years spent in the gym mirror the hours that you have been in the classroom. The days at home watching and learning from your parent or guardian. The years in school each day learning something new and pushing yourself to solve a problem larger than the problem from last week or last year. When the weightlifter put his shoes under the bar, it tells me that he left every bit of himself there as well. All of you are somewhat like him because you have the need to achieve. From the perspective of one of your teachers, that is a beautiful thing to watch. You got what it takes, and don't ever let go of it. Ever. It is called grit. This is what grit looks like. Please turn around and focus your eyes and thoughts on what grit looks like. I assume he thought that we would have the video in back of us. It may look slightly different to you, but let me assure you that there were days and there were nights that you didn't want to do your homework. There were days and there were nights when you didn't want to study for an exam, but you did. But you did. That is why you are here tonight. You are also here tonight because of the people seated behind you, your family. Yes, they have huddled around you. They have encouraged you. They have set some expectations for you, and you met those expectations. That is what we call love. Yeah, sometimes you kiddos wish they would just leave you alone. Yeah, maybe so. But do you want to see what that looks like? No, I don't think you want to live that life. So, a question that I have is, where do you fit into all of this? Most of you are 17 years of age now. Watch how quickly 27 sneaks up on you, and 37. You may not even see it coming. Where will you be living at 27 or 37? Our sense of time is not a single function. It has to do with other factors. Stimulation and boredom are the other factors. Get this. Imagine this. Mr. Wilgenbush is bringing up some philosophers here, so get ready. Einstein once said, put your hand on a hot stove for 1 minute and it will seem like an hour. Sit next to a pretty girl and an hour seems like a minute. It is my hope and prayer that for all you young ladies and gentlemen, that life seems like sitting next to a beautiful person. A beautiful person is a person that will wish you well. Those who will stand not only alongside of you, but will also have your back. For those of us here at East Dubuque High School, it has been and continues to be a joy watching you grow. We see you at the best of times, and sometimes at the worst of times. Let me briefly tell you what I see. Since we are here in the cafeteria, let me tell you some of the sights this year. One day, not so terribly long ago, there was a group of junior boys who thought leaving their table a mess would be something humorous. I sat on that chair over there and watched this develop as these junior boys walked over to the window and appeared to be looking outdoors. I watched this until the bell rang for dismissal, only to watch these boys leave the cafeteria. Really, 7 of you. To say that I was ticked off would be an understatement. I returned to my office and made 7 phone calls. 2 parents did not answer and I left a message. 5 parents answered and assured me that what had just happened was unacceptable. One mother indicated that she would settle this problem when she saw her son and told me that he was already on thin ice. Carter, could it ever be possible that our mothers are the same person? All the other parents with whom I spoke said that this is just not okay. Moms and dads, thanks for the support. It is truly appreciated. And yes, the next day in the cafeteria was much better. Now, one more sighting this year. This too was in the cafeteria. Apparently I've got to get Mr. Wilgenbush something better to do than be in here for lunch. Even better, it was during junior high lunch. Treat yourself someday and stop in and help with junior high lunch supervision. The offer is open. This is what I saw. One of our special needs students was carrying his lunch tray back to his table when something fell off of his tray. Now let me tell you this. Because of his special needs, this boy was not going to be able to bend over and pick whatever off of the floor. Now this is what I saw. One of our junior high boys saw this happen. He seemed to pause for a couple of seconds, and then he got up from his lunch, walked over to where the item was laying on the floor, and returned it to the student. Yeah, that makes an old man want to cry too. It was a thing of beauty. Of course, when I got back to the office, I had to call this student's parent to let them know what I had seen. But I had to talk to the parent this way, Mrs. Dolan. Do you have any idea what your son did today in the cafeteria? She paused, and then I told her. Moms and dads, be proud. Continue to parent like you have, and never give in, nor never give up the grit. It is tough to parent, but you have fought the fight. And from my perspective, you are indeed winning. That too is called love. One more thing tonight. I know of a poem that I want to share with you. It is indeed a very special poem. It is one of John Wooden's favorite poems. Now, John Wooden, you may ask, who is he? Some know. John was born in October of 1910. I wasn't there. Born in Indiana and grew up on a small farm. He grew up to be 5 foot 10 inches tall. After graduating college, he was an English teacher in southern Indiana. He is considered to be the most successful NCAA basketball coach ever. His nickname is the Wizard of Westwood. He coached a young kid out of New York City by the name of Lou Elcinder. Lou Elcinder attended Power Memorial High School in New York City and then traveled to play collegiate basketball at UCLA. When Lou graduated from high school, he was 7 foot 2 inches tall. Picture him standing next to his coach at 5 foot 10. Oh, you don't know who Lou Elcinder is? Maybe you've heard of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Same guy. Anyway, John Wooden was his basketball teacher. Coach Wooden won 10 NCAA national championships in a 12-year period. And this poem was John Wooden's favorite poem. Here it goes. They ask me why I teach, and I reply, where could I find more splendid company? There sits a statesman, strong, unbiased, wise. Another later Webster, silver-tongued, and there a doctor, whose quick, steady hand can mend a bone, or stem the lifeblood's flow. A builder sits beside him. Upward rise the arches of a church he builds, wherein a minister will speak the word of God, and lead a stumbling soul to touch the Christ, and all about a lesser gathering of farmers, merchants, teachers, laborers, men and women, who work and vote and build, and plan and pray into a great tomorrow. And I say, I may not see the church, or hear the word, or eat the food their hands will grow, and yet I may. And later I may say, I knew the lad, and he or she was strong, or weak, or kind, or proud, or bold. I knew him once, but then he or she was a boy or girl. They ask me why I teach, and I reply, where could I find more splendid company? And Mr. Wilgenbush has one more video that we'll finish with, if I can get this to work right.
Was when I was about 10 years old, and I was in school, and I struggled. And I didn't struggle with English, math, or science. I struggled holding still. And I would try to listen and focus and process ideas, but I couldn't help myself. And to be honest, I would sit there and then I would just start tapping. And the students in the class would look at me and they'd say, hey, stop tapping. A lot of the time, I didn't even realize I was doing it. And then eventually even the teachers got after me and they would yell at me and they'd say, Clint, you have to stop tapping. It got so bad that I got sent to the principal's office for tapping. And he said to me, okay, maybe when you go back to class, just try sitting on your hands. So I did. I went back to class, and when I felt myself starting to tap, I did this. I sat on my hands. And that worked for about 5 seconds. One time I was tapping in class, and my teacher, Mr. Jensen, he looked at me and he yelled. And he said, Clint, stay after class. And I thought to myself, this is it. I am done. Now, I've always been the type of person that believes that a single moment in time can change a person's life. And this was one of those moments for me. And I will never forget it. And so I was sitting there with Mr. Jensen and an empty classroom. And he walked past me and he sat next to his desk and he said, Clint, come here. I want to talk to you. And as he looked me right in the eye, he said, no, I need you to know something. You're not in trouble. But I do have just one question that I have to ask you. And he asked, he said, have you ever thought about playing the drums? And in that moment, Mr. Jensen, he leaned back and he opened the top drawer of his desk. And he reached in and he pulled out my very first pair of drumsticks. And he held them in his hands and he looked at me and he said, hey, Clint, you're not a problem. I think you're a drummer. Never put those sticks down. I've toured, recorded, and played drums all over the world. My whole college education was paid for with drumsticks in my hand. Just because of a single moment in time when somebody believed in me and he saw something in me that I didn't even see within myself. And from that moment, I learned that there's a difference between being the best in the world and being the best for the world.
Well, thank you for indulging me while I read Mr. Wilgenbush's speech. Hopefully I wasn't too long-winded for you. I will wrap up with just a couple of things. Those of you that have been here before, for either older siblings or relatives, I have to say it every time. This is one of the most enjoyable evenings that you have as a high school principal. Watching kids that come in as 7th graders, most of you, and get to the point where they are ready to take on the world. So enjoy the rest of your school careers. Some of you are in the last couple months. Some of you next year get to be the leaders here. and take this passion and leadership and courage and everything else that you've developed and do something great with it. That's all we can ask. So, as we end, please eat cake, drink punch, grab some water. Mr. Wilgenbush worked hard ordering all of this, and we want to make sure it doesn't go to waste. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a great evening.
Hi, Wilkes.